Very, very crazy time in the world. And since we're in a crazy, chaotic state in the world right now, you have to understand what is happening in front of you and what the signs are showing to you to let you know that we are not only in a mentally taxing state, but a physically taxing state too. And how you know that you are in this physically taxing state is the way that we not reproducing, we are reaping and sowing, because a lot of people are out here depressed, they're anxious, they're dealing with anxiety all the time, they're dealing with panic attacks. And this is not just coming from the fact that you're stressed out from work or kids or family or etc., but a lot of it is stemming from the foods that you eat. And they know that when you're choosing terrible toxic foods, you're not going to have any discerning thoughts, because you are going to be not having enough nutrients, not gaining what your body needs, which is going to throw off your brain. And so, as we dive deeper into this, I want you to not only understand and make the connections, but to also be able to feel like you're taking a deep breath in and you're able to release and you're letting go of something today, because it is Friday, it's the end of the week. We want to go into the weekend feeling lighter. And how we do this is to call attention to what our body is showing us, to understand what these symptoms are meaning, and to get to the root cause of why you're dealing with stress, why you're dealing with fatigue, why you're dealing with hormonal imbalances, what the misalignment is coming from, what your body is trying to communicate to you, what it's saying to you and whispering to you to let you know that, hey, I need you to pay attention to this, etc., and fix it. Because wellness isn't about diet culture, and wellness isn't about how much you're just in the gym and you work out on the weekly basis, right? Wellness starts with what you're eating and what you're consuming. We know this because when you're doing a diet, you start calorie counting and restricting, and you start eating a whole bunch of salads. But what if I tell you that calorie counting and restricting and eating only salads is not the way for you to be healthy, nor is diet culture? Because diet culture has misled you to believe that starving yourself is the way that you're healthy. Calorie counting and restricting is the way for you to be healthy. And instead of you fueling your body and feeding it and giving it what it needs to allow it to release the fat, to allow it to gain the muscle, you are instead restricting and making your body panic more, just the same way that you were making it panic when you were eating and consuming constantly throughout the day, whether regardless of what you're eating. And I know this is not what we're taught. And so it seems foreign and it seems scary to think about it that way, because you're like, there's no way. All these gurus who lost over 100 and something pounds, they all calorie count and restrict, and they starve themselves and they look so great and they're in the gym. But as somebody who's lost over 40 pounds, who has kept over 40 pounds off and has not gone back up to that weight that I originally was before I went plant-based, I'm telling you, I didn't have to calorie count or restrict, or I didn't have to do diet culture in order for me to lose the weight. I didn't have to be in the gym multiple days out of the week in order for me to lose weight. I did it by doing home workouts. I did it by using food as my medicine first and getting my mental right. And then I focused on every other aspect. But when you are in the space of believing in diet culture and feeling like that in order for you to be healthy, you should be feeling drained every single day, this is causing you to not understand how you're negatively impacting your health journey, as well as negatively impacting your body and how it responds to you doing what is right, what is healthy, what it's needing. And so you put your body in a constant space of fight or flight mode, and this is making your body anxious for no reason whatsoever. It's making you feel unmotivated, and then you blame yourself. And instead of you feeling unmotivated, instead of you feeling like you have a drive for you to do things, you're blaming yourself for feeling like you don't want to do it. And you're blaming yourself for being unmotivated. You're blaming yourself for not having any drive. But when you have no foundation to stand on that is healthy, and you have a very terrible toxic foundation that has trained into your brain to not trust you, you're not going to have any drive to go do what you're needing to do for your health. When you're caught up in cravings, and you specifically sugar cravings, and they're ruling what you do and they're ruling how you feel towards food, then you're going to be constantly sitting back and thinking, well, I'm craving this today, and since I'm craving this today, it's because I need to eat this sugar and it'll get rid of my craving before my cycle. Or I need to eat this fried food because if I eat this fried food, it'll get rid of my craving and I can do the diet next week. And you consistently do this for months, even though you've been saying you were going to do a diet next week for months. But it's because you don't want to do the diet, and it's not because you don't want to eat healthier, you don't want to do what's right, but it's because diet culture makes you feel so uncomfortable to the point where you hate it. You don't want to do diet culture. Your body is not punishing you for having symptoms. It's protecting you. It's protecting you from the years of stress, the years of survival mode, and it's showing you that you have had years of imbalance and it's needing your support and you haven't been giving it what it needs. So instead of you feeling mentally drained all the time, even if you are active or you're not, even if you're feeling bloated and you're consistently bloated, regardless of what your cycle is, where your cycle is and what phase you're in, if you're constantly feeling like you're tired, even when the day just began and you feel like you have no energy, this is not where you have to stay. I once was there in the space of being anxious, being tired all the time, feeling like I have to calorie count, restrict, and starve myself to be healthy, was feeling completely uncomfortable within my own body and feeling heavy and not understanding why. And what helped me be able to shift completely and to really change what was going on with my health, with my body, and how it was impacting my everyday life was me understanding that my body was showing me the results. The results of what my habits were, the results of my food choices, the results of my mental patterns, the results of my emotional state that I was in, my emotional defaults, my triggers. My body was showing me every single day the symptoms that I was experiencing are a message. Your body is not a problem. You are not a problem. The problem is that you have been trained into a society that has told you that as a woman, your hormones should be out of balance. And as a woman, you're going to have PMSing. And as a woman, you're never going to be regular and you're never going to be happy. Because that is untrue. When you were following what society has taught you of the fact that women are going to be emotionally chaotic and we're going to be all over the place and we're never going to have any discernment, we're never going to be able to do anything without the guidance of a man, without you being able to have regulation, without being in a relationship first. It's a toxic environment that has programmed you into believing that you have no type of calmness within your body, within yourself, no peace. And when you have no peace within yourself as a singular person on this earth, as a woman, as an individual, not as somebody who has a partner, but as an individual, you're never going to have peace within a relationship. You're never going to have peace within the home. And if you know anything about the feminine energy, you know anything about women, women themselves control the temperature of the room just like a thermostat. And so when you're in the room and it's chaotic and it's everything's going on, let's say you have children, they're jumping and they're bouncing all over the couch. Mom enters the room, and if the children know that the mom themselves doesn't have to be a physical disciplinarian, but understands the guidance of their mother and understands how the mother impacts, everything calms. The children calm down. The children might migrate to something that is safer. The children might migrate to something that is calmer. They might finally sit down and watch TV. They understand the impact, but that is what you bring to the room. You have to have that in yourself first. You can't be an emotionally unstable person and then walk into the room and everything calm down. If you are emotionally unstable and everything else is chaotic in the room, all it's going to do is trigger you, make you overstimulated, and you're going to cause more chaos. So do you understand how I say that the women are the thermostat of the room? And so when you have no hormonal regulation and peace within yourself, you cannot be the thermostat to calm down the room. But instead, you bring more chaos. You are bringing more fight or flight mode. You are bringing more... I'm trying to figure out what the word that I was looking for, but you're bringing more problems than you're solving. And so instead of you having that full foundation of peace and calmness and knowing how to fall back on that, you're bringing surface solutions and you're relying on surface solutions. And these surface solutions never last. And you need sustainable solutions in this day and age. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because when you're looking at society, when you're looking at what is going on, it's deeper than just your favorite celebrity is looking good today and they're out in public, but they're here to show you a message because it always goes deeper. The root cause goes deeper. The connections go deeper. Your internal systems go deeper than just, oh, you have a kidney, a liver, and a pancreas, but how they operate together. So do you think that this world, in this society, when you know that there are principalities against you, doesn't go deeper? And if you don't, I'm going to make a connection for you today. I was looking at some celebrities, I don't know how long ago, specifically Ariana Grande, because I used to be a fan, and some other ones. And when you look at celebrities nowadays, because I want to say it was like Jennifer Aniston, somebody, I don't know who it was, the lady from Bird Box, I can't think of her name right now, like how the celebrity women specifically are looking like vampires. Some of the men are looking like vampires, specifically the women are looking like they have literally been soul sucked so hard that they have no life left in them. They look ill, they look thin. They look completely misconstrued, completely thrown off. If you really are paying attention. And people were questioning Ariana Grande when the Wicked movie came out about why she had gotten so small, why she got so skinny for the part, right? But when you look at all these other celebrities, thank you for the likes, and you look at how they are and how right now currently that the skinny epidemic is coming back. You know how at first everybody wanted to be thick. All these celebrities were getting shots and BBLs and everything else to make themselves look thicker, and now everybody's getting on Ozempic and everybody's looking thinner. It's not just because these celebrities want to push back to being skinny again, but it's because they are showing you and they're mapping out exactly what this next 3 years is about to look like. People are going to be without food. People are going to be starving. People are going to be looking sick. And that's what they're reflecting. This is what I mean by it is a deeper thing than what the surface looks like. Because if you're questioning why they look so ill and they're coming back and they're telling you they didn't lose weight for a specific reason, this is just a part of them getting their life together and being healthier, but however they look sickly in the point of in the points of them doing that, it's deeper than that. It's not because she wanted to look good and look skinny for the parts. It's because these celebrities are preparing you to show you what starvation looks like. Because we're turning into a third world country. We're about to look like how they paint the pictures on TV with the Arms of the Angel by Sarah McLachlan. How they post all that stuff and she's singing and all these kids were looking sickly on TV in Africa. That they're painting this picture that Africa is nothing but dirt roads and animals, right? And so they're painting that picture for you now in America. We are turned into the third world country. It's firsthand right there in front of your face because celebrity culture projects what is going to happen. That's the same reason why all the influencers that they were converting for them to be able to go up on stage with the person who is now the president, to be able to promote him up there to say, this is going to be our new president. They put it in front of your face. And how you know and where you know where it's going, follow the celebrity culture. They're super, super skinny and they're looking ill right now. So which part are you going to follow? Being the super, super skinny one starving, or are you going to be the one sick? Because if you don't change your habits currently right now and change your lifestyle, this is the ecosystem that you're a part of. Either being starved or being sick, or both, because you could be a part of both. There's no accurate separation, but that's the path we're going down. And it's deeper than just the celebrities, but look at what's happening with hospitals closing. Hospitals are thinning. They're letting go doctors and nurses. The people who have always had job security are losing their jobs. Insurance companies are about to start dropping y'all for the simplest things, or they're going to stop covering your basic packages, and they're only going to have premium packages. They're no longer going to have $25, $5, $10 copays, but instead your copay is going to be $100. This is just for a checkup. You're going to start paying $300 out of pocket for that birth control that you're dependent on. You have to see the signs and you have to start looking at what's going on and stop playing the guessing game that has failed you. The guessing game that you were playing has failed you. It has never worked. The confusion has never worked. Operating in confusion and guessing has only led you down the path of thinking there's something wrong with your body. It does not empower you to be sitting here guessing and playing a guessing game and hoping that it works, or being compliant in a society that knows if you are compliant, we can misconstrue you down the wrong path. Stop being so complacent with what you're consuming. Stop being so complacent with what you're doing. Physically, emotionally, and mentally. You have to be sound in these next few months. In these next few months, you need to be getting it together. Because I'm telling you, by 2026, you're thinking right now it's bad with prices. You think it's bad now with how everybody's emotional state is. What do you think it's going to look like when they get around tax season and their taxes aren't looking the way that they wanted them to look? What do you think it's going to look like after the holidays when everybody spends all this money for their kids and etc. and everybody's panicked again? What do you think it's going to look like after, because we've had this whole government shutdown and everything else, what do you think it's going to look like when what happened in 2020, I was going to say 2019, it started in 2019, but in 2020, when it happens again? Because if you don't think that there's going to be some type of major illness that happens in these next 3 years, some type of major shift when it comes to the health industry in general in the next 3 years, why do you think that they're closing hospitals? Why do you think they're letting go of doctors? I just made the connection with the celebrities. Make the connections with the hospitals too. Make the connections with the insurance companies. Make the connections of why everything is so subscription based nowadays and how it's getting worse. Make the connections. Think about it. It goes deeper than just, oh, you have to eat right and you need to get in the gym. You need to get your mental sound. And you can't have a sound mind if you're sitting here eating toxic crap and your gut is thrown off and you have no nutrients being absorbed. So you have to start having a structure within yourself that helps you be able to stand on a healthy foundation. Because if you don't have that structure, you're not going to have the framework to connect the dots to see what is going on with yourself internally, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So then you're going to have to rely on somebody else to tell you what you feel and how you feel. Your therapist, your family members, your friends, your doctors. And a lot of these people are not spiritually sound. They're not emotionally sound. And so they're going to make you follow the same chaotic patterns, and you're going to go down the same chaotic path. So you have to start making those connections not only for yourself, but also if you have children, for other people that you care about in your life, because a lot of people want to know different aspects of how to help themselves be able to be better, how to heal themselves, how to be healthy, but they don't have the solution of, okay, where do I start? How do I start? How do I get here, X, Y, and Z? They need a map. They need a roadmap. You don't need a 7-day reset. You don't need a detox. You don't need some kind of trendy diet. You just have to start using food as your medicine first, and things will start to align correctly. Your liver itself is connected to your liver, your gut, your pancreas, your kidneys. All of them are connected together, and all of them are going to impact how your body functions, how your brain functions. So when you have no balance, when you have no clarity, when you have no hormonal peace, you're going to be dealing with cravings. Thank you for the follows and the likes, guys. You're going to be dealing with bloating. You're going to be dealing with weight gain, anxiety, low libido. I think we had 2 or 3 women that came in here last live. They were talking about how their libido was so low. You're going to be dealing with mood swings. You're going to be dealing with skin issues. You're going to be dealing with fatigue, brain fog. And I was talking to those women who were talking about low libido and all the different hormonal imbalances that they were dealing with. And I was telling them, it is the food. It's not only the products that you're using, because if majority of women wear perfumes, majority of men wear perfumes, and you don't understand how fragrances themselves are just thousands of chemicals put together, and this is a hormone disruptor. The same thing with Lysol, bleach, Clorox, they're hormone disruptors. And so think about how this is impacting your libido. Think how it's impacting your brain and your brain function, how you're causing fatigue and brain fog just by spraying yourself with perfume every single day. The simple little things that you think about and how they have trained this into you. We all love to smell good. There's nothing wrong with smelling good. But the problem is that we have been so misconstrued to read a label and not know what it means. To not understand how marketing impacts your buying more than you just being a person on this earth that should be taken care of. Because they don't have food on the shelves in the grocery stores just because you need to eat and that they want to take care of you. They have food on the grocery store shelves because you're a person that consumes and they can make money off of you. So when you are thinking about your detoxification place, your liver has to be supported with the foods that you're eating. So leafy greens, beets, citrus fruits. Without these, old hormones build up. You're going to have estrogen dominance inside the liver, and you're going to be feeling inflamed, and toxins are going to be trapped. The same thing that's happening inside the gut, because the gut needs nutrients too in order to help the liver detoxify. So if the gut is not getting enough fiber, enough minerals, and it's not being able to absorb the food that you're eating, then it's going to be sitting around inside the digestive tract, inside the colon. You're going to be having issues with inflammation if you're not eating correctly, and you're going to be having issues, like I said, inside the digestive tract, which is going to cause you to be constipated. It's going to cause you to sit here and store toxins inside of your fat cells. And then your mood is going to be unstable because your brain and your gut are directly connected. So when your gut is off, it's going to throw your brain off. And when it throws your brain off, now you're going to have the issue of you're going to be pumping out high cortisol. Just a whole bunch of cortisol, because your adrenal glands are going to panic and pump out stress hormones. It's going to pump out too much estrogen. It's going to pump out too much progesterone. And then it's going to be pumping out a whole lot of cortisol to try to calm the body, to survive rather, not calm, but to survive in the chaotic state of your body right now. Thank you for the likes. I really appreciate it. And so this is going to have you in a state of craving all these different foods, craving sugar, craving crap, right? Your energy is going to go through these fluctuations, constant energy crashes. And those constant energy crashes are coming from more than just the gut, because, like I said, they're all connected. So then your pancreas during this process needs stabilization, right? And so you're not going to have any stabilization with your blood sugar, which is going to cause you to signal more high cortisol. It's going to signal more cortisol throughout the body. And these spike signals are stress signals. And stress signals, cortisol specifically, raises your blood sugar. So it goes in a full chaotic state that is throwing off your hormones. And when you are in a insulin resistant state, you develop diabetes. Over time, you will develop diabetes. Diabetes untreated, you develop type 2, you develop type 3. In type 3, you are more likely to have Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a disease that comes from consuming entirely too much sugar. Having too much sugar in the body, rather, because you don't have to necessarily eat a whole bunch of sugar to still have insulin resistance or insulin problems, because people don't realize you have to have stabilizers within your food. Stabilizers doesn't just come from you eating protein. Let me rephrase that. Stabilizers doesn't come from you just eating your chicken and your rice and your salad or whatever else. Stabilizers come from fruits and vegetables. They come from natural foods from the earth, because they allow your body to signal it is okay to pump a regular amount of insulin versus pumping a bunch of insulin, because we are able to convert the sugar into energy at the regular rate versus a fast rate of I'm pumping and expelling because I have too much. I'm pumping and expelling because I have entirely too much. And when you're eating sugar right after you eat because you're craving a sweet treat, right? Thank you for the follow. And so you're like, I'm craving a sweet treat. I want to have sugar right after. That is spiking your blood sugar. And it's also a signal that your meal has spiked your blood sugar and it didn't have any stabilizers to regulate. So that craving of sugar after you eat is not because you really want something sweet and you've trained the habit of sweets in your life, but it's literally because you have spiked your blood sugar with that meal, and that meal had no stabilizers. So for instance, you eat a whole bunch of carbs, right? You eat a whole bunch of carbs, you're going to be craving sugar and you're going to be tired. It's not just because, oh, the carbs made me sleepy, but it's because your blood sugar has spiked from all the carbs and you did not eat a stabilizer with the carbs. And so this is causing you to have that hormonally chaotic state, which is going to impact the kidneys. And so then when your kidneys are impacted, I'm going to get to your question today. And when your kidneys are impacted, then this is going to cause you to be dehydrated, because a lot of y'all are not getting hydration on a cellular level, which is going to impact the kidneys. And then your mineral absorption is going to be so poor that it's going to cause your adrenal glands to panic even more, because the kidneys are a space where they need hydration and they need minerals to help your adrenal glands to calm down. And when it's depleted, it's going to feel tired. You're going to feel heavy. You're going to be sitting here dealing with the weight gain, the weight fluctuation. You're going to be having the emotional reactions of PMS. This is what happens when you don't eat what your body is needing. Your body is telling you it needs food for stabilization and support. Your foods that you are eating right now is not supporting the body. And that's what's draining you. That's what's causing you to have fatigue. That's what's causing your mood to be all over the place. When you eat balance, your organs are able to trust you. When you have stabilized hormones, your mind goes back to a state of peace. When you have the emotional regulation of what you should have, your energy is going to be through the roof. But when you're sitting here in a chaotic state in the mind, in a chaotic state, it's going to reflect itself in your cycle as a woman. When you are not operating and eating according to your cycle phases and understanding how that impacts the body, you are going to have PMS. You're not going to have what you need every single month. And you're going to be dealing with the issue of the body having a healthy foundation to stand on. You said, and it's, oh, why did it do that? It's draining me. I truly feel it's coming from my low iron. Your anxiety and depression is coming from your low iron. Yes, iron deficiency is definitely going to be impacting the brain, because when you were having iron deficiency, anemia in general, which I was a girly who used to be iron deficient, borderline anemic. My iron was being watched before I went plant-based by my doctor. You are going to be having issues inside the body with oxygen. That's the word I was looking at. I was about to say hydration, but it's oxygen. And so when you are having a iron deficiency, anemia, the body is letting you know and communicating with you that we have to fix this because we're not getting enough oxygen to our cells, not only our cells, but the cellular process is not getting enough oxygen to our organs. And so in return, after years of you being in the space of being anemic, iron deficient, you are going to develop a chronic illness or a disease. There's no ifs, ands, or buts because science has linked it. When you have a chronic iron deficiency, which is years of you going into iron deficiency or anemia, you are going to develop a major chronic illness or disease because that is a literal organ failure. That is a sign from your body to let you know your organs are failing because they're not getting what they need. And so this is the reason why we're seeing people younger and younger get diagnosed with things like diabetes. Because diabetes and iron deficiency are going to go hand in hand, deficiencies in general. Because when you are not getting hydration and oxygen on a cellular level, disease is thriving and loves this space. And so instead of you being in a healthy space where it cannot thrive, you're giving it a breeding ground to keep producing more illnesses and more diseases. And so when you're sitting back and you have iron deficiency and it's undealt with for years, it manifests and it could show itself in diabetes. And people don't realize that because they think it's all sugar. It's how do you cleanse with low iron? With low iron, I would suggest that you need to focus on eating more foods before you even cleanse, honestly and truly. Because a lot of people focus on cleansing thinking this is the way to get their health in check, and you're cleansing from a space of starving yourself, and that's not what you need. You need to be eating more, and when I say eating more fruits and vegetables. Cut out the other crap, because when you are already in a mineral deficient state, you're not getting what you need. A cleanse is not what you need, because all it's going to do is make you reap the repercussions of the lack inside the body, if that makes sense. Your body is lacking what it needs right now. It's lacking nutrients. It's lacking minerals. And so when you're doing a cleanse, what are you building on? What are you building on? Raw, cooked, or both? I do both. I am not fully, thank you for your heart me, I am not fully raw vegan. I do go raw during my cleanses and also the phase of my cycle that is the most beneficial for me to be eating raw fruits and vegetables, but majority of the time in the month I'm cooking something. I'm gonna be 1,000% honest. I'm not a raw vegan. I go raw when I'm feeling like I want to eat something, because it depends on what it is. There's a couple of different meals where I'm like, oh, I like this one, I want this one today. But usually my body craves these things because like it's just like a salad. Like I don't eat salads all the time, but if I'm craving a salad, I'm gonna go get a salad. I'm gonna make a salad, so that's why I say that it's not like diet culture, where diet culture tells you it's all or nothing. You have to eat raw every single day, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to cleanse and do this juice cleanse every single day, because when you follow diet culture, it makes you uncomfortable, you hate it, and then you go back to your old lifestyle. We have to stop following diet culture. As somebody who used to do it and rely on diet culture to be healthy, I'm telling you that's not the way to go. It's just a way to make you uncomfortable, hate the process of being healthy, and then never do it again. What we have to start doing is eating, consuming real whole foods, and then incorporating what a detox or a cleanse looks like. But you have to understand exactly how to build the body up first. Because I have women who come and try to work with me, or they do work with me, because I have some that will just try to get in my DMs and rah all day about how it's not working for them. I'm like, okay, do you want help or not? And I don't respond. But it's just like I'll look and I'll be like, yeah, you don't want help. What I have noticed is that people do cleanses and detoxes from a space of diet culture, and they don't work. And then they get all these negative side effects. They go back to the old lifestyle, and they say that it didn't work. They try to go plant-based for a week or two or a month or something. They're like, it didn't work. I was starving, or I was more anemic. And I always respond and I tell them, what are you eating? And when they say like, well, wasn't getting enough, and that's the problem, or I didn't have enough options, I'm like, that's the problem, because there is over thousands of different plants on this earth. There are literally hundreds of different mushrooms alone, and you haven't tried every single plant on this earth, so there's no way to say you didn't have any options. You just didn't know how to cook. You didn't know what to make, and you didn't research to see what food places you can eat at. And so when you don't do research, but you jump all into something, what happens? That's just like you trying to write a research paper on astrology, and you've never looked up anything on astrology, but all you've heard is like the signs. How are you going to write a paper on astrology if you've never done any research on astrology? You can't just jump into something without any knowledge of how it operates, how it works. If you don't know anything about your body on a regular day, why do you think you could just jump into all of a sudden you're going to eat this way and this is the healthiest way possible? Because these gurus tell you this is what you should do. That's the reason why. Social media, the programming of TV, television itself, they've all told you to do the same things. Calorie count, restrict, starve yourself. They've told you to do the same things. Eat salads to be healthy. When you look at like old shows that portray vegans, I think it's so funny because like I never even realized how many shows had like vegan propaganda in it. And I was cracking up looking at Ugly Betty like a year or so ago. I looked at Ugly Betty for the first time. That was my first time watching it through. I know I had seen like a couple episodes, right? And they had a vegan on the show and they were all like, wow, you're vegan? And they're all looking and she's like, well, I could never. And they're all looking at her plate, which is a lettuce plate. Mind you, it's a plate of lettuce and that's it. Ain't nothing else on there. Ain't no croutons, ain't no pepper. Like there's nothing in that bowl but straight lettuce and maybe some vinaigrette or something. And this is what they're portraying as somebody who is eating healthier, being a healthier lifestyle. Because, oh, she's so thin, right? This is a good way. She's like, yeah, I don't torture animals. But you're over there eating and torturing yourself, looking like you really are just a rabbit who doesn't know, because that's not eating lettuce itself is not going to give you all the nutrients that you need. Eating like for instance how you said you have low iron, eating kale, especially heavy amounts of kale, a normal amount of kale is probably like a little handful, less than a salad, right? But majority of people are either mixing kale, which is okay, it's nothing wrong with that, or they're eating a full kale salad. Kale depletes iron. If you're not getting enough like vitamin C and vitamin D with your iron, you're depleting your iron by just eating kale itself. So can you only imagine if that woman is iron deficient and her mindset is, I have to eat a salad to be healthy. And so she's sitting here eating a full bowl of kale and vinaigrette. So this is what I mean by we just can't jump into something assuming that we know how to do it and what to do based off of what social media has told us. Because as somebody who graduated with a degree in psychology and human health and performance and mental health services, I didn't necessarily just go directly for biology and science for it. And it came from, I did get a associate's degree in science. Let me rephrase that. I didn't go directly towards like the health industry in Western medicine, right? Because I knew that was not the space that I wanted to be in. But I realized early on that I was like, when I was taking my nutrition class, how simple it is and how you can get misstrued away from the simplicity when you're taught from diet culture. Because my teacher who I was in there with was even teaching us about how diet culture misconstrues how you need to work out, how you need to operate, how you need to move. Because she showed us how impactful it is. Just one class, she literally told us all we were going to do was walk for 45 minutes. We didn't have to run. We didn't have to do anything strenuous. She said, I just want you to do a moderate walk around, talk with people, talk with yourself, whatever you need to do, listen to music. I just want you to walk for 45 minutes and we're going to meet back up when we get done for 45 minutes. She was showing us the fact that they're telling you that you have to be in the gym working out as hard as you can to be healthy and all the different stuff. And she was saying that your heart rate hit the same way that it would if you were sitting here running on the treadmill for 10 to 15 minutes just by you walking for 45 and you're okay with doing this. Like there's no reason for you to do the most strenuous workout if that's not what your body desires. And a lot of people, especially women specifically, your body itself does not desire you to do the hardest workout. If you are a PCOS girly, if you are a hormonally imbalanced girly already currently right now, I can guarantee you your body does not want you to go in the gym and work out for 2 hours, to run for an hour, and to do heavy weight training for an hour. It wants body weights. It's fine with you doing cardio, but it does not want you in here. If you have a fibroid or a cyst, running as hard as you can and lifting the most maximum weights, that's how you hurt yourself. Because as somebody who I used to have, which I didn't go to the doctor and get diagnosed by this, because honestly, I was like, you're not sticking that thing in me to figure out what's going on. I never got a pap smear. But I knew, I was like, I have to either have a fibroid or a cyst, because the way that I'm feeling is what all the girlies are describing of what they're going through. And this was like I want to say 2 years ago, maybe I want to say, I had started to feel, I don't know how many I had, but I'm saying I started to feel them dissolve and I started to feel them to go away because you can feel them. And so I was starting to do a lot of lymphatics massages with my fist. I was doing a whole lot of lymphatics massages when I started to learn where they were and started to understand how lymphatic massages really impact the womb, specifically the stomach and the womb area, because we should be getting them on the regular. I haven't looked into how to get them because honestly, or where to get them from, because honestly, truly, I started to figure out how to do them on my own when I started doing my cast style packs and things like that. And so I was doing more lymphatic massages. And after one really hard workout, I was running. I had ran in a while. I had ran for about, I want to say maybe like give or take a mile. I had ran for about a mile. Thank you for the rose. And I went home and I was bleeding. Random of my month, random middle of the month, bleeding during my ovulation. Confused. Was like, okay, that doesn't really happen. Thinking nothing of it, right? Next month it happens again. Like I said, I'm running. I'm not thinking of it because this is the time where I should be able to run and it should be fine. I'm cleansing, right? It happens again and it's heavier. And I started to do research and I was looking into it. And it's because I was running at a wrong time. My body did not want me to do that. My body was literally telling me, I don't want you running right now. Like, you have either a fibroid or a cyst, and I don't need you doing this. And it was trying to show me that through the cramps and through the random bleeding. And then it also was showing me during my menstruation, I wasn't releasing completely because you still have some stuff to give. And as I started to realize this is not the time for me to be running as hard as I can, this is not the appropriate time. Figured out what the appropriate time was for my body and how my body operated. I stopped having all those issues. I started having the cramps. Stopped having the spotting out of nowhere. And I never had spotting before. But if I didn't know how to listen to my body, the first thing I would have did was either run to the doctor and get a prescription or something prescribed to me, or panic and stop working out and thinking that it's just me and I don't need to work out. Because there's a girly who not necessarily doesn't go to the gym, does not like going to the gym at all. At all. That's just not my place. I like being active in some way, shape, or form that is a activity, whether it is walking, whether it's jumping rope, whether it's something that gets me moving and gets my heart rate pumping. HIIT workouts are my thing. Doing something from YouTube, like getting up and stretching for an hour is less strenuous on my body, and it's more incorporating for my mind than it is for me to sit in here and lift weights and be in the gym in a space where I'm having to watch around and make sure that nobody's trying to come up to me or nobody's bothering me, you know? And so it puts me in a mentally sound state more than what it would if I was in the gym, because I feel like I'm chaotic in the gym. But you have to know yourself. You cannot know yourself if you're sitting here and making yourself feel wrong for being a girl, being a human, being here on earth. And like I said, when you are sitting here and you're in a world that is compliant and you know that it's changing and your health and your health is not changing, but everything else is changing around what your health is going to look like in the future, and they know what your health is going to look like, so they're changing all the so-called benefits of what they give you. Hospitals are understaffed, they're closing. Nurses and doctors walking out or being cut. Insurance companies are sitting here changing the way that they price you, whether it's what they cover, what they don't, what the co-pays are rising. Medication shortages have been happening since 2020. And the system itself that they are under when it comes to your health, the system is overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed. Everybody's overwhelmed. So do you think you're the priority here, or money is? Because we all know that money makes the world go round, especially in these industries. And do you think that you're really the priority here? The celebrities are showing you what the future is here to look like. Ill or starved. So if you're not stabilizing your hormones now, stabilizing your mind, putting your health on the front line instead of the back burner, and getting rid of all the procrastination and confusion, you're going to be in for a rude awakening in this next year. You have to start now. If you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you think you're undisciplined, if you think you're inconsistent and you cannot get consistent or unlucky, it's about you choosing the habits that help you be able to change that for yourself. It's not just what's rooted inside of you because you're a woman, but it's because you don't have the foundation to help you identify what is happening. Get to the healthy habits that reflect what you want. And if you are somebody who cares about your body, and you're somebody who wants to nourish your body, and you want to choose alignment, and you want to know how to lead yourself into a space that you can sustain your health, and you identify with a healthy lifestyle, but you want a lifestyle that is long term, I say every single stream, I can support you with my balanced body program. I can also support you with one-on-ones. They're linked in my bio. If you want to know more about my balanced body program, it's a framework, a map, it's a structure for you to be able to not only get your mind right and cycle sync, but also to eat your plant-based meals, to use food as your medicine, and to understand exactly how you are able to get into a sustainable place of grounding your feminine, your hormones. Because it's not difficult when you have the simplicity of what I taught myself to do over these 5 years, and kept myself in the space of being plant-based for 5 years. Because cycle syncing is the key for you to be sound and stable, as well as you having hormonal imbalance. Because when you understand how to eat for the phases of your cycle, you understand how to support the body in every phase that it needs. So then you're not going to have PMS. You're not going to have a painful menstrual cycle. Your menstrual cycle is a direct connect of how healthy you've been for this month, how you've treated your body this month. So quick fixes, quick fast solutions are going to show you the reproduction, I keep saying reproduction, the repercussions of a quick fast fix. But when you are actually having sustainable healthy habits, things that are actually changing your life, you're going to see how it's changing your life. You're going to feel how it's changing. You're going to start choosing yourself first. And if you're looking for the Balanced Body program and you want support in doing that, like I said, it is linked to my bio. What questions do you guys have for me before I get off for today? I do have every single Saturday I take off for the Sabbath. So I do have a few, give or take, because I think 5 o'clock it gets a little dark. It gets dark now. I have a few hours of office hours left. I'm going to be doing some emails and a couple other things and answering any questions about the program. But if not, I will be off until Sunday. So I'll respond to anything after sundown on Sunday, because I do practice the Sabbath, like I said, and I will be offline, or at least off my business page. Any questions for me at all? Yeah, any at all? His mind digestion is off even on fruits. What causes that? Your digestion is off even on fruits. You're saying like eating just fruits itself and your digestion is still off? What do you mean by your digestion is off? Like you're not using the bathroom? Or it's just making your stomach upset? Because yes, if you have IBS or anything like that and your stomach is upset just by eating simple things like fruits, it could be a sugar thing. Like it could be the pH in your gut is off, it's thrown off, and the sugar is impacting it. Because a lot of people don't realize this, and people like, you're not using the bathroom. Are you only eating fruits? A lot of people don't realize the fact that like when your body goes to a complete insulin resistant state, regardless of what kind of sugar you're eating, natural or not, and you're already like in a very sugary state in the body, your body's going to recognize all sugar as panic. And if you have an overload of like candida and yeast inside the gut, that sugar is feeding it. Regardless if it's natural or not, it's going to be feeding it. It's going to be giving it a breeding ground. So you're not using the bathroom. So you said, are you only eating fruits? Like how, because that's the, like how long are you only eating fruits, and are you only eating fruits? Because if you're just eating fruits as like breakfast but your gut is already off, yes, just fruits, that's why I'm not successful. How long are you just eating fruits? Because like if you're going to be doing some type of like raw cleanse and you're going to go to just like a fruit fast, a fruit cleanse, you can't just do it for like 1 day, 2 days, like 3 days. What kind of fruits are you eating? Like it's the matter of, because if you're having an issue inside the gut, you got to let the gut reset. You have to give the gut a break. And so if you're eating a whole plethora of variety of different fruits, that might not be giving your gut enough break. You get what I'm saying? Like if you're only eating watermelon, that's going to give your gut a break because it's a heavily water-based fruit. I've done a fruit cleanse for 3 or 4 days, I want to say, on just watermelon itself. When one time I was like not really sick, but I was really sick at the moment. Like it was a painful sick, and I didn't want to go to the doctor for it because I knew what it was. I had never had one before, but I had looked up the symptoms and it made sense. I was like, it's this whole thing just makes a whole lot of sense, so let me try this and then we'll figure out if I need to go to the doctor. Within first day was most painful because that's when I was trying out the new things, and then after that started to realize, okay, it's getting better. This is what the problem is. And I kept doing the watermelon for that long, and it reset my gut, as well as everything else that was going on. Pears and apples, I don't think pears and apples will be the thing for you to cleanse off of. Apples are great because they're going to keep you full. Apple a day keeps the doctor away is what they say. Apples are great. But for you to reset the body, apples are entirely too sweet. That and pears too. Pears can be pretty sweet. I know pears have great benefits, apples have great benefits, but they're not necessarily something that if you were starting out a cleanse and you're already having issues in the gut that you should be focusing on. You should be focusing on water-based things, because it's time for you to reset the gut. You're not just cleansing to be able to be healthy, to flush out the system, because if you are, that's great. Apples are great for you to go to the bathroom, because if you know anything about giving kids apple juice or applesauce or anything like that, it makes them go. But if you're trying to reset your adult gut for however many years that you've been eating off, you have to think about the timeline of how long the gut has been off, how long you've been eating the way that you have, and putting that to how long you're cleansing. Because like I said, you can't just cleanse for a day and everything's going to fix itself, or two, and you can't just starve yourself into cleansing either. You have to start making sure that the gut is stabilized and the gut is healthy. It's not the only aspect that we focus on, but if you're having issues with digestion and movement in the body and the bowels, you're not getting enough hydration. And that's on a cellular level. And hydration from a cellular level comes from fruits and vegetables. So that's why I say that we have to cut out all the other things, because I know that a lot of people don't like hearing that, because as soon as I say going plant-based, they're like, well, why don't these people eat meat still? But their digestive tract is still usually be built up. These gurus will come here and talk about that it's normal for you to have, a little pudge in the front because we have a uterus. But then they're not telling you at the same time, though, as long as you're making sure that you flush that area, it's okay. Like, you know what I mean? Because if you're not flushing the area and then you still have the pudge and you're not understanding that you have to flush, you're going to be still having the backup regardless. I have high sugar too, so it's a combination of everything you said. Yeah, it's usually sugar, and even if it's not consuming processed sugars, you having a high state of insulin is going to impact every aspect. Like we talked about, they all impact each other. So it's not just I have to get the gut right, but it's about getting all aspects right. And so that's what I teach in my program, is getting all those aspects right. It's a 6-week program, so that way we can go through all your cycle phases and have a little extra time overward also, so that we make sure that you know and understand and can sustain this. And you have one-on-ones during that. You have one-on-one help with me, a full walkthrough, as well as we do have master classes. So any more questions for me at all? I think my puppers needs to go OUT. I think she does. I'm gonna have to go, guys. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your weekend, because I'm pretty sure she needs to go OUT. I really do. She's over here looking at me like, girl, and I don't want her to go in the house. And then I want to start back, but I feel lost. If you feel lost, I promise I can support you. I have plenty of content on YouTube. I do have cookbooks if you're looking for inspiration for food. If you're looking for support, because I know people come to me and they say that they feel like they lost inspiration for foods. I do have an Eating Away Diabetes cookbook, which is deeper than just eating away diabetes, but it's a full plethora of how to eat a rainbow plate. Gives you tons of recipes. It's a book that's about 100 pages, if not over 100 pages. And then I do have my beginner guide cookbook that is beginner friendly, pretty easy, things that are like quick fast meals that I still do to this day, some raw, some cooked, etc. But I gotta go because she's gotta go to the bathroom. I really appreciate you for the rose. Thank you guys for the likes. I hope that you have an amazing rest of y'all's week, a great start to your weekend, and I'm out, y'all. Peace. Go check out my YouTube. It has plenty of content.